has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Alright guys, it's here. It has awoken. Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens has hit theaters across America, and it's breaking almost every record you can imagine. As many of you know, I have been reviewing all the Star Wars movies leading up to The Force Awakens. I have been so excited for this movie. I have not been more excited for any movie in my entire life. This movie came out on my birthday. Best birthday present I've ever gotten in my whole life. So I am ecstatic to talk to you guys about Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens. This review will not contain spoilers, so I am going to be as vague as possible when I tell you about this movie. This film takes place 30 years after Return of the Jedi, and through the opening text we learn some new things about where the galaxy, what its state is in. Force Awakens is focused on a girl named Rey. She lives on this planet called Jakku. She is a junker. She goes into ships and takes out parts. And she, through some unlikely circumstances, runs into our character Finn. Finn is a stormtrooper, and he decides, I don't have a dog in this fight. I want to get out of this. And they meet up, and they meet some new characters and some old characters, and they go on this adventure that I do not want to spoil. I want to be as vague as possible, and that might upset some of you because you don't know what the film is about, but hey, when I went into this, I knew next to nothing about what was going to happen. And that was so exciting for me because for a long time, you know pretty much how the story is going to break out and what might happen next. In this movie, I had no idea what was going to happen next. So I want you guys to have the exact same ride that I had and to be able to go into this really not knowing where this is going to go. As this is a continuation of the story that we've already had, we get some new characters and we're introduced to new people. Like I've already mentioned, Rey is portrayed by Daisy Ridley, and Daisy Ridley does an amazing job portraying Rey. Every scene she was in completely stole the show. I love Rey. She was one of my favorite parts in this entire film, and I adore her character. I cannot wait to see what her character goes throughout this series. Another new character we're introduced to is Finn. He is portrayed by John Boyega, who I first saw in 24 Live Another Day. He was a minor role in that season of 24, but I remember him. I remember when he was casted, I was like, that's the guy from 24. I'm excited to see what he does with this character. And he does an amazing job. This kid has a ton of charisma. You can just feel the energy just seeping off of him. You can tell that he is completely excited to be here. This kid is hilarious, and he's a great addition to the new characters that we've had. We are also introduced to a new character named Poe Dameron, who is portrayed by Oscar Isaac. He is a pilot for the Resistance, and I didn't really know anything about this character. I've only seen him in a few shots, but Poe is so awesome. He's really funny. He's a heck of a pilot, that's for sure. And I really enjoyed every single scene that he was in. He's not in the movie a lot. He is not the focus of the story, but I would really like to see more of him. Oscar Isaac does an amazing job portraying him. And again, he is a great addition to the Star Wars family. Along with some new characters, we are introduced to some of the old characters, like Han Solo, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, and Luke Skywalker. Han Solo is a really important character in this film, and I didn't think that Harrison Ford just phoned in his Han Solo impression. I thought Harrison Ford did a great job. You can tell he wanted to be here. When I saw this, I didn't just see Harrison Ford doing his best Han Solo, just trying to get a paycheck. I saw Han Solo. And you get to see Han Solo interact with his pal Chewbacca, and they have some hilarious banter between the two of them. And it was great to see those characters on the screen again. And it especially was great to see them handled well. It's not like they were just thrown in there to go, we're making this new Star Wars movie, and I hope you like our new characters, but in case you don't, here's the old characters. I thought they did a great job passing the torch onto a new generation, and I am excited to see where our characters go. As I said before, the performances are amazing. The cast is so good. I have to say, my favorite performance from this was Daisy Ridley portraying Rey. This was her first film she did. She is a great discovery, and I can't wait to see what her works are after this. You really do fall in love with Rey's character, and ever since Daisy Ridley was casted, I think she is a cutie pie. I cannot wait to see what she does. I've seen her on Jimmy Fallon, and she's just happy. She's smiling. She is like, you can tell that she is so happy to be in this movie. And it's not like she's just, I'm happy to be here, so this is the best I got. She gives a great performance and acts some of these people under the table. And even if these actors gave the best performance possible, it wouldn't do them any good if the script wasn't solid. The writer for The Force Awakens is the same writer who wrote the script for Empire Strikes Back. This movie it's not only is it thrilling, but it is completely hilarious. I'm laughing 95% of the time in this movie. And it's not laughter to the point where it's annoying and it takes you out of the experience. When you're scared, you're supposed to be scared. When you're sad, you're supposed to be sad. But the jokes in this movie stick every single time. I don't think there was one joke that fell flat on its face. And them using jokes as a way to get you invested in these characters and get you to like these characters was a great choice. I think by far and away this is the funniest Star Wars movie I've ever seen. Because of the way the prequels were handled and how the action in those films was very distracting, there was no emotion in any of the lightsaber fights. I was worried going into this and I wanted to see how they would handle it, and I think they performed with flying colors. The action scenes in Force Awakens are riveting. The choreography in the lightsaber fights is realistic. They're not flipping around and doing all these ridiculous twists and turns where it feels like there's no stakes. Lightsabers do a ton of damage in this film. In the past Star Wars movies, whenever somebody gets hit with a lightsaber, they usually use an arm, but then they just like put a mechanical arm on this. But lightsabers actually hurt you in this movie. They cut. They don't just slice limbs off. They actually hurt you. They are actually these hot, basically, blades of fire. All the action scenes in The Force Awakens had a ton of emotion and a ton of tension. You felt like things were at stake. I had the pleasure of seeing The Force Awakens in IMAX, and the dogfights looked so awesome in IMAX. You didn't feel like you were looking at CGI ships. You felt like what you were seeing was real. The CGI in this film is incredible, and I'll talk about that more. Some of you may know, when JJ went out to do this film, he wanted to make it as real as possible. He went to the actual locations and filmed on location. Most of the creatures that you see in this film are actual makeups and masks. They're not CGI pieces of trash. And for the most part, the majority of what you're seeing in this film is live action, and that was an amazing decision by J.J. Abrams. All the new planets you're introduced to look like actual places you could visit. All the new characters you're introduced to, they feel like characters that you could actually touch and interact with. As many of you know, this film was directed by J.J. Abrams, who has directed the Star Trek movies and Super 8 and many other films. But I thought he did as good of a job as anybody can do. In fact, I thought he did a stellar job. His decisions that he made had to be extremely strenuous. You gotta think, put yourself in J.J. Abrams' shoes. You have the original trilogy, which is one of the most famous movie series of all time. And I thought his decisions were perfect. I can't imagine somebody else doing a better job than he does in this movie. His decision to do live action creatures was a perfect decision. His decision to go out on location and film on location was a great decision. And the way this movie is filmed, it looks like an actual movie with Star Wars characters in it. Some of the shots in this film are beautiful. I just have to applaud J.J. Abrams because you did something that I don't know if anybody else could. You brought Star Wars back to relevancy. You made Star Wars good again. You recaptured the magic. And in Star Wars The Force Awakens, John Williams returns to do what he does best, and he returned to make the score of this film. And John Williams is as brilliant as ever. I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to the score, but it is absolutely beautiful. In my opinion, it's not the best work he's done, but there's still nothing wrong with it. There's just nothing in this score that I'm like, I want to listen to that again. John Williams is as brilliant as ever, and he's still making magic with music and adds so much to each scene. Not only did he write new music for this film, but he incorporates some of the old music as well. And I've got to say, when it said a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and Star Wars came on screen, and it scrolled up and it said Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and the music was playing, I felt like a kid again. The whole crowd just erupted and started clapping, and it was an extremely, I will remember that forever. I saw this film on opening night, and just seeing all these fans of this series come together and get to see what it has in store for us, I've never experienced anything like that before. Because when I was a kid, I saw the prequel series, but it didn't seem to have the weight that this did. Something I was really excited for in The Force Awakens is to see Kylo Ren, and I wanted to see what kind of a villain he would be and what he would add to this series. I loved Kylo Ren. His motivation, you could really understand why he was doing what he was doing. You don't condone it, but you understand it. And when you have a villain that you understand, that makes the best villains by far. And I was really worried about Kylo Ren because some of my favorite characters in movie history are villains. And I didn't want him to be a disappointment. I didn't want him to be underused and a waste of potential. Because Star Wars has a tendency to do that from time to time. Now, when the third trailer released for Star Wars The Force Awakens, what was on everybody's mind is, where is Luke Skywalker? We haven't seen him in any of the trailers. He's not on the poster, and everyone is wondering, where is Luke? Everybody knows that Luke is in this movie, so me telling you that he is in it is not a spoiler. And I am very pleased with what they did with Luke Skywalker. I am very interested to see where he fits into the story. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I've been praising this film for all of it's done, but this movie is not perfect. It does have some flaws, and that's okay. This movie doesn't need to be the best movie of all time. The problems I had with The Force Awakens is I feel like they really underused Captain Phasma. When I was going to this, I was not only excited for Kylo Ren, but I was really excited to see Captain Phasma's character. The way she was designed was really intriguing, and I couldn't wait to see how she fit into the story. And she is not in this movie for very long, and I was disappointed in her character. I am hoping that she will be more used in the movies to come. The biggest problem I have with The Force Awakens by far is how derivative it is of A New Hope. But I want to explain that, because when I did my Creed review, I was praising it of how it stuck to the Rocky formula, and I said I hope Force Awakens does that. And this movie does. There are several themes in this film that are just like A New Hope, and I am totally okay with that. It's just when you take one thing, and it's pretty much the exact same thing as the thing you've already done, it gets a little boring. And what I'm talking about is, you can see it on the poster, so it's not a spoiler. It's Starkiller Base. And what it is it's basically just a new Death Star. And my problem with it isn't the fact that I was like, oh, you already did that in A New Hope, so you're just copying off of A New Hope. My problem is, if you're the new First Order and you're trying to replace the Empire and be the bigger, badder Empire, I don't know why you would do exactly what they did twice. And both times it didn't work out, so I just don't know why you would want to do exactly what they did. It felt a little tacked on, and it felt like they were just like, we need this character to do something, so let's just have him do this. It didn't feel necessary to the story. It just felt a little out of place. I love the concept behind Starkiller Base, and the fact that it's an entire planet, and it's like 100, 200, 300 times bigger than the Death Star. I thought that was really interesting. It just felt extremely redundant. But for me, that's almost reaching a little bit. This movie does exactly what it needed to. Star Wars The Force Awakens is so much fun. It has heart. It has substance. The new characters you're introduced to are amazing. And it has a lot of nostalgia without just being, we have a crappy story, so let's throw in some old stuff so they'll like it. It's the Star Wars movie we've been waiting for, and it's the Star Wars movie that we deserved. The film was everything I wanted it to be and more, and I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 7 a 9 out of 10. Like I said, guys, this movie isn't perfect, but it does its job. It gives us a new tale for Star Wars. It gives us new characters, and I am so excited to see the new trilogy. I'm excited to see what journey it takes us on, and I cannot wait. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, you can click on the link down below, and subscribe to my channel to see more movie reviews and movie-related things. Again, guys, thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.